Welcome to MindShifters Radio. Today is Thursday, February the 26th, 2026. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome, Susan. I take the fact that you are on today, that you are safe and sound in Hawaii, and we're doing worksheets on jealousy.
Good morning. Yeah, I made it.
Good morning.
My flight was delayed. I got in late last night, but I made it here to Kauai. All good. Just already activations are already full force. So just
Awesome.
trusting the process. Every time I come here, I feel like my soul's home.
Mm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. And so we'll see what gets revealed. Lots of stuff is coming in already. So yeah, I'm just doing my best to be patient and also just observe everything that happens in the present moment.
Very cool. How long are you there for?
I'll be here till April 8th, and then I go back to meeting Lindsay and Andrea and Anita in Vancouver, and we're doing heliotropic breath work with our teacher, Gila Gulab, who is the one that Anita and Andrea are doing the training with. So, but yeah, you can't do her breathwork training until you've actually done her courses. And she's retiring soon. She's 80, I think 85.
Right. You
So
might invite her to do a StillPoint session with energy field work and see what happens.
Yeah.
That would be cool if she'd be open to that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll ask her. I don't know if she'd be open.
Yeah, I've had many people over the years that have done holotropic and then come and do StillPoint, and they're just like blown away with the difference. That like the feedback I've gotten consistently is, there's just no comparison. So it'd be interesting if she'd be open and offer her that gift.
You know what? I will. In fact, when I'm there, I'll bring it up to her if she'd be willing. And she's been suffering some ailment. She's had some health issues, and then her husband took a big fall. And I guess she was speaking about, that she's not long for this world anymore. So I don't know what that's about. I haven't seen her for a few months, so I'll see her when I'm back in Vancouver to see what's up with that. So, but yeah, I think I sent you her website, right?
Yeah, you did.
When she's on duty, look out! Like boy, oh boy, just like a mother bear. Yeah.
Mother bears end up with a lot of challenging with that bear energy. Maybe there's some softening and introduce her to Ruka Dakucha and the Dakucha factor, and maybe a new space will open and she'll decide to just stay around instead of think about checking out.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Thank you. When I see her, and plus I've got the whole team with me. We're going down, so there's going to be Lindsay's going to be there, Anita's going to be there, and then also I think another 2 who are my students. So there'll be 6 of she does it at her house. Cool. I think there'll be 18 in total. So there's 6 in my tribe, 7 in my tribe. Well, 7 of us will be there. So we'll have a big army. So
well, if she's open to it, make sure to let us know, and we'll be holding the space.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do that. Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
And Miss Susan B., how are you, young lady? We haven't heard your voice in a little while.
I am well, thank you. I've had a cold and it's gone, but there's all this stuff still in
some leftover mucus stuff.
Yeah, I know.
That seems to be a characteristic of what's going on all over this particular season.
Makes me wonder about air pollution and what I'm doing all the right stuff and I don't feel bad. I feel good. But you should hear the hacking and coughing when Tim and I get into bed. It's pretty wild.
Well, I went through a layer of that, and I'm still doing a little bit of the same, so I understand. I hear you.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I hear you. We definitely need an upgrade on supporting the culture, stepping back into supporting the environment, and with the withdrawals from the environmental actions is just, it's literally criminal action against the earth. I don't know if you saw the article I posted from, let me get my brain there. Who's the fellow who was like super top genius scientist, had MS, speaking with an electronic voice. I posted an article of his.
Stephen Hawking.
Hawking's, yeah. And Hawking's just, he's saying, this is our last effort, folks. This guy knows cosmology, knows the Earth's physiology, and we've got, greedy billionaires that are saying, oh, well, we can make more money if we just rape the Earth a little more. So it's definitely something that needs to be addressed, and people of conscience need to speak into and speak up to. This is a requirement for our children, especially the levels of asthma in children are just outrageous and bizarre. So definitely more cleaning up needed in our minds and in the earth, and so
And
holding a space.
if we are creators, we've created this.
Yes.
I don't understand how that works. I can't, in any part of my consciousness, believe that I would choose this, but here we are.
And I don't think it means it, because it's happening in mass doesn't mean it's yours.
Yeah.
You can be clean and clear and working in different direction.
Right.
Well, the mass mind is caught in a brainwash of, money's more important than our children's health. And that's just a thought disorder that needs to be cleaned up in the minds that hold it.
I'm on the radio.
Can I just add something? Exactly that what you said, Michael. So, and also recognizing, Susan, that this is multi-generational that's been going on. And so we've come in as souls into this physiology of our family system trauma, and we have said we are going to bring love. And one of my teachers said, how do you know how conscious somebody asked one of my teachers, how do you know how conscious somebody is? And my teacher said, by the amount of fear they hold.
Yeah, fear or hostility, either.
Yeah, fear and and or hostility, fear that both play in there. And so, and what I'm learning now, even flying into Kauai, I was just being in my body and only observing whatever sensation came up and just be a witness to allow it. And with no thought, there's no thought there. I'm just observing, letting it, I want to say, discharge, liberate, and move through. And it's not even mine, like you said, Susan. You can't, that you would never choose this. None of us would with a conscious mind. And the replicate mind program and the carbon-based memories have been going on for eons. And Michael says, 30 generations, that's 1.3 billion people. And we're in the physiology where love didn't get to flow through a cell. Love and breath didn't get to flow. Love is breath. And so whatever is up, and also was going to ask you about the coughing. I don't know, do you have the Messages in the Body by Dr. Michael Lincoln, or ended up passing away by the name of Narayan Singh, I believe was his name. And it's a dictionary of what physical symptoms represent on the emotional level.
Louise Hay, she does that too.
Yeah, and Dr. Singh has done, a really in-depth. If I was at home, I'd take pictures where coughing is, but I don't have the book with me.
Well, Celinda was saying that Louise Hay says it's that you want to bark at someone.
Yeah, there's lots, and there's different layers, like depending, and it typically is rooted in, these something that's wanting to be. I sense in your field, it's something that's wanting to be expressed, and because expression doesn't come. Yeah, you want it, then it might be, there's an urgency with it. You know how when you start coughing and you can't stop, it's almost like you're being, it's an involuntary, that need to cough.
Yeah.
And you can't stop.
Need to get something out.
That's what I sense in your field. There's something that's not being vocalized.
That could be.
Yeah.
Well, thank God for the love workers. And I say that cautiously because that's my intent. But I'm also aware of my dark side. And this Lent has been rich with work on going out into that wilderness, and I don't think the angels are going to show up right yet. Of course, they're all over the place, but I mean, for Jesus, it depends on what gospel you talk about. But in one, it says the angels were attending to him throughout. I think that's what it says, but my impression was they showed up at the end after he had done the bulk of his work, and he was probably pretty spent. And they took care to make sure he was delivered back into his life, or whatever it was. These are my interpretations. It's been an amazing Lent. I would like to say I'm on the light side. I'm one of the light workers, but I can't say anything with a pure motive. I always like to think, ho ho, aren't I great? I'm one of the good ones. All of that.
And I think you could just hold your thoughts there and acknowledge yourself, because that's what's true about you. Are you finished yet? No. I don't think Yeshua finished his deepest work until he literally sweat blood in the garden, because to me, that's the signal of a major healing crisis. But that didn't stop him when he was 12, just starting on his journey of cleansing, from speaking truth. And it didn't stop him from acknowledging and speaking it along the way, and speaking of himself as the light of the world, and of others as the light of the world, who also haven't finished their work. So to be that doesn't mean you have to have achieved the whole gamut or the whole game. And so I'd support you, listening to you, interacting with you over the last 6-7 years. You're definitely on that side of it. You still have work to do? Yeah, don't we all? And so I'd support you acknowledging yourself in that, and that's great that you're getting into another piece of the shadow and cleaning that out. There's a book out there about Carl Jung, and he was terrified to do that piece of work, because he thought, in exhibiting his shadow and in exposing that it would destroy his reputation as a psychiatrist. So he was, that's fairly well known. And there's a book out there called The Red Book, which, he got into some pretty crazy stuff. But he recognized he had to do that. And so, he worked in the light a long, long, long time, and he went to the next level of his own shadow. And yes, I think each new level of work that we do, we're invited to do the next level of depth, and recognizing, if in fact our genes go all the way back in the generations, how much of what is in all of us that we just need to, acknowledge, work through as appropriate. And I'd support you verbalizing the clear intention and expression that you have of being on the light side.
And also the angels come also in lots of colors, right? The angels, because everyone that shows, they come up to show us what is not in truth. And the ones that trigger us the most, or bring up that actually reveal our triggers or reveal our states of the non-being mind. I find those I give much more gratitude to those angels versus the ones that only show me my light.
Thank you for being my most generous trigger, right?
Yeah, 100%, because I learn the most, and it gives me an opportunity. My previous husband is my most generous trigger.
Oh boy.
And keeps me on my toes, and also, in fact, the other day there was an incident where and his level of trigger reflected back at me. Let's put it that way. I had to ask myself, I said, what is this for, in my mind, not to him? Because I got really agitated, extremely agitated. And I thought, what is this for? What is this showing me about myself?
The next piece of your healing.
It is. And then also just a reminder, Susan, the segment in the Course in Miracles, it's right after lesson 240, what is the world? But false perception. And I read that again, Michael, and there's a lot of regulatory cleanup required in that particular what is the world. And I thought that would be neat to rewrite the Course in Miracles with the appropriate regulatory speech.
I thought about starting that project 30 years ago. Every year at
Yeah.
Heartland for decades we taught laws of living where we really focus on regulatory speech. And each time I do, in the summer I do a laws, I was like, I need to get to the course because there's so much
Yeah.
dastardly regulatory speech in it. But the overall
Yeah.
message
And
is
I was
there,
on the
and
airplane. Then the airplane that came in, I was meditating, and they said that needs to be updated in proper regulatory speech.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But the
that
world,
would be awesome.
when I read the world, and then also in lesson 240, which I sent talks to Michael about cleaning it up, but I think it says fear in any form is not justified. And then I
Mm-hmm.
cleaned it up. So fear in any form is denied justification.
And
But
it's the opportunity. Fear in any form
yeah,
is simply the opportunity to learn to forgive fear.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
That's
an
good.
energy.
yeah,
You
it is.
know,
And
And
it was
it,
so,
yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah, it
bet
really,
Helen Schuckman would totally agree with you and welcome that idea.
yeah.
I
And
believe she would.
it came to her state of consciousness. As I read through it more, I'm gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
do another reread of it again. I can feel I'm on my
Mm-hmm.
third round of it. And of course, even when I read it
Good
the
for
first two
you.
times, um, my level of awareness, or I want to say the eyes to see and the ears to hear are much different now. And I'm sure it'll continue every round that I do. And I know we got this, and I know you're the light. You are emanating the light, because how do I know that you would not? Your mind would deny this type of setting if it wasn't not if it was in anything but light.
Oh,
So
I'm
you are
taking a
right,
breath in
exactly
that
where you're meant
one.
to
May
be.
it be the case. Thank you,
Yes.
Susan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, and
Oh,
another influence, a strong influence on the course was Ken Wapnick in a lot of the
oh,
language.
what a sweetheart he was.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh, the fact that he recognized those notebooks in her apartment and took them home with him and started organizing them. And well, it's just mind blowing how fast he picked up on that and took it. She even said, I don't know where these, he took them. He took my notebooks. She was grousing in her apartment about that. But then she became glad that he was doing it. She didn't treasure what she was doing. She tossed these notebooks into a corner, these stenographer's notebooks, all dog eaten. And it's amazing. That to me is the most incredible testimonial of the existence of God, that God recognized in this broken woman a conduit for what God wanted to say, and trusted her to do it somehow. And she did it in spite of herself. Oh,
That's a perfect example for you, my dear.
oh, nice.
And your
Nice what?
notebooks.
So just take that in, what you just
Mm.
said. Just take that in. What that you could see outside of yourself, there was this human mind represented through Helen Schuckman, who did not lack the capacity to see her divinity, and God spoke through her.
Mm-hmm.
And her mind kept
Unbelievable.
her, and her humanness kept her in separation of who she really
Mm-hmm.
was. And the
Yep.
divine in her knew the truth. And
So
that could
amazing.
be replicated also to you or all of us on the call,
Mm,
where our humanness tells us that, we're in denial of God.
yeah.
And the truth is, we are the love of God.
It's a big thought. Mm.
And then
And,
just one more that you, I just had, this is important. The fact that you were aware of that work years ago. That's not by accident.
It
That
seems
you already had the
amazing.
spiritual, you had the spiritual brain cells, and I believe in past lives. So you built the foundational energetic resonance to draw that work into your field. That is not by accident. That
Well,
is by design.
and we're glad you're here
thanks.
doing it.
I'm glad I'm here too. It's there was a tremendous amount of immediate recognition of her work, even while it was being published into those 3 fat volumes. And the groups that popped up all over the place, we were very near her because we were in New Haven and she was in New York. So we were one of the first reading groups. A whole pile of neighbors just started coming to my house and reading these books which were in galleys. They were just getting out there. And she came to visit us. I've told you this before, but she was blown away by the fact that people were interested in it. She couldn't even connect to the fact of what she was doing. And she brought Ken with her, and he was like her interpreter. And she would just say, Helen, relax, take a breath. It's okay. And she loved it, but she didn't know what to make of it, and she did not claim it as anything that she had done, which was a kind of humility. She barked at us, do you believe in God? And my answer was, I put all my hope in God, but I'm not sure about believing. And she said, great answer. I hope it was a great answer, But anyway, she was like a little girl.
Well, I join you in holding her in the space
Mm,
of that pure presence of being, everything having been forgiven in her field, and stepping into the truth of who she was, as each of us is working to step into the truth of who we are individually and collectively.
yeah, well, that's Susan. That's one reason I think she would now welcome the rewording. I think where she is now, she must know that would be helpful.
Well, you know what? I'm going to connect with her. I'm going to do a meditation and connect to her. And it came on the plane very strong when I was flying here
amazing.
about it's time to do a rewrite of the Course in Miracles to clean up regulatory speech.
It
So,
but do.
and consciousness is, so I really believe everything I see outside of myself, we have my individual consciousness and then my, family system stuff, which I was brought into, and then we have the collective. And so humanity's ready for this now. And when she brought in her work, can you imagine if she would have had access to the power person dynamic and Michael was in her world?
If
I can
she'd had
feel her
access to
field.
forgiveness.
Yeah, I can feel her field. I really can. She's right. We're talking about her as though she's right here. I can feel her energy. She perceives the world. She said, I had no idea.
And the fact that in that text.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so lost in her own trauma. Did she smoke?
Yeah.
I don't, not when I knew her. I think she had smoked before.
I see she's smoking a cigarette right now. She's smoking like in this, who's over here is and I'm like, okay, smoking. She's going back and forth with her head left to right. I had no idea. And she's using no. She goes, I know that's regulatory speech, but I had no idea that. And she was so, they're telling me, I'm hearing very extremely insecure. And self-loathing, she said she had a depth of self-loathing that her human mind would not let her see. her divinity, and that traces back the family system trauma for generations. And very
You look at
driven,
how
and
the course
also,
started.
yeah, and very
You look at how
caustic.
it started,
Yeah,
starting from the space of conflict between she and her superior at the clinic she worked in.
yeah,
And after a big
Columbia.
fight, coming home going, there's got to be a better way.
Yep,
yeah,
that was the
And
that was
that
it.
opened her.
That was
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I can
She
feel a
was
lot of I can see shrouded in yeah, the non-being mind energy. And so she completely denied her that she was the divine. And I was told by somebody, this is interesting because I can feel this, that when Jesus came through her, this was designed for future lifetimes for her. But the urgency of what humanity needed was being required this lifetime. And
wow.
the readiness, she was always, I mean, this, we always get what we're ready for. But her level of cleanliness in her mind was not yet ready,
Her level of
but
what,
the
Susan?
soul was ready because it showed up. So the resistance level of the human mind consumed her with this task her whole life. Yeah. And so had it been in another iteration of her and a future incarnation, her capacity to know what she was coming here to do, it would have been, I'm hearing that it would have been more received given the nature of her human conditioning. It was constant resistance the entire journey. And then
It
my
was.
understanding, it wasn't even revealed until after her passing that she was the author.
Is that right?
Yeah,
No, that wasn't
that
right.
I was told that it was that
No.
then, oh, it was revealed before?
She
Yeah,
she
well,
was
Susan met with her while she still had the books in her hand.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so, but I know it was, but my understanding was the authorship was not, I don't know who they attributed the authorship of the book to. Did it state her name on the books?
No, she didn't want her name on there, but it was known that she was Ken knew. I think Ken was her student
Got
at
it.
Columbia.
Yeah, I was told that it was after when after her passing, then the credit was completely. Yeah, she really. And I'm hearing right now that she didn't want anything. She was so. I can really feel the energy of the inferiority she felt in her field like that, and then of also being made wrong if it did come up with her tag to it. So yeah, obviously her and Ken had many souls, lifetimes together. And he was such a, like you said, you saw that, how what a gift he was in her presence to bring this information to humanity.
Yeah,
I
And then
think in
obviously
her
Bill
lifetime,
too.
it was well known. It was out there that
yes,
she was the one who scribed the course,
Okay.
yeah.
and that what was her boss at Columbia?
It was Bill. Bill, I forget
Bill.
his last
Thetford.
name. Yeah.
Bill assisted her
Yeah.
in
He
doing
Uh-huh.
that, and then
scribed, I
Ken
thought.
came along.
She channeled and he scribed. Is that true?
No, she
I
was
think
Okay.
the
she
one
wrote it and he typed
scribing.
it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting. We're talking about her for a reason. That's interesting. And on the airplane, it came very strong. It's time.
Wow.
It's time to bring,
Yeah,
because I was
her.
reading, as I'm reading through it, I'm constantly, especially what is the world? And I'm going, okay, the consciousness is beyond what's being written on this page.
She
But yet the
did
depth of truth is there if the wording being cleaned up to regulatory speech. So,
her section on forgiveness, though, is. I mean, she on some level she might have understood because she put down her definition of forgiveness impressed me so much. I remember Xeroxing it or typing it up and pasting it into the front cover of my book,
awesome.
Miracles books. So
Which definition was that? What do you have that handy? I'd love to hear what.
let me go get it. Yes, I
I'm
can.
going to grab my
Oh,
book too.
I am in a state of having a cat on top of
I'm
me.
surprised the roosters aren't, usually the roosters are making all kinds of noise now.
Boy, go on, Alex.
And then I heard she also did some of her scribing here in Kauai. I
Did
was at,
she?
and I don't know if that's, I went to actually where Peter Cater did a concert. I was at the house, And they said that Helen used to spend, I don't know, she owned that house at one time.
I have no
That's
idea. I
interesting
only
that
knew
this
her
is,
in New York before. She was mad as heck at Bill because he got some kind of position in California and left, and she felt abandoned and mad at him. And
Opportunities to learn forgiveness.
okay, I found it. Now let me get it out here.
Well, let's hear that.
You've heard this though.
and if you don't mind sharing the page,
Mhm.
that would be helpful too.
I wish I could. It's called number one, what is forgiveness? But since I typed it myself and stuck it in the front cover of my book, I did not type the page.
That's okay.
Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. There you go. You have your brain blown. It does not pardon sins and make them real. It sees there was no sin.
Mhm.
And in that view are all your sins forgiven. What is sin except a false idea about God's Son? Forgiveness merely sees its falsity and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place is now the will of God. So that's just the first paragraph. I can
Lesson
keep going.
221.
Good for you, Michael.
Awesome.
Okay.
An unforgiving thought is one which makes a judgment that it will not raise to doubt, although it is not true. The mind is closed and it will not be released. The thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt, and further kept from reason. What can come between a fixed projection and the aim that it has chosen as its wanted goal? An unforgiving thought does many things. In frantic action, it pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees as interfering with its chosen path. Distortion is its purpose, and the means by which it would accomplish it as well. It sets about in its furious attempts to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view. So that's the unforgiving thought. And then paragraph 4, forgiveness, on the other hand, is still, and it quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist to appearances it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not. He who would not forgive must judge, for he must justify his failure to forgive. But he who would forgive himself must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is. Do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do. Through him who is your guide, your savior, and your protector, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. He has forgiven you already, for such is his function, given him by God. Now must you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God. Just lesson 220. And it's interesting to me, I've always wondered why the action of forgiveness. I mean, in all the years of developing what I've developed, I've looked at everything everywhere. And there are only two places on the planet that you find an exact and specific how-to of forgiveness. I had read it in the course, but never recognized it. I presented it to many people who are deeply into the course, and most people blow it off, even though I read it right from the page. I believe it's lesson 316. But there are only two places, in the Aramaic and in the course. But the how-to of forgiveness is given, and the languaging in this section flies in the face of that to some degree, and I've always wondered why there's such a dichotomy. But the only other place it exists in the world that I know of is in the Course, where it says, let go all the things you think you want. Your trifling treasure put away, and leave a clean and open space within your mind for Christ to come. That's specific Aramaic forgiveness. And, if you listen to what we just read, and it talks about, I'm going to forgive him and I'm going to forgive myself, it's like, it doesn't fit with the technology of forgiveness that Yeshua brought and that the Course itself proclaims. So there are some conflicting ideas, as there is some poor regulatory speech that needs to be cleaned up in the Course. And if you look at every time here, where if just to add 2 words each time it talks about forgiveness of, your brother or forgiveness of another, to just add the 2 words that appear in the Aramaic that are missed every time they translate. And that is, forgive as to your brother, forgive as to yourself. Now you've got a consistent technology that is matched by the words. But that piece is missing, and it's always kind of left me in a space of, what happened that it's so clear, reflected right from Yeshua's Aramaic words, yet not carried throughout the Course.
Michael, I don't
Yes, ma'am.
understand the forgive as to and the difference between forgive your brother. Can you explain?
Okay. Well, let's say that you get on the phone and you rant and rave and rage at me. And I go into the same kind of rage as you're ranting and raging. Your ranting and raging would be your forgiveness work. Got nothing to do with me.
Right.
But when you ranted and raged and resonated in my rage, if you actually were standing there over my shoulder, listening on the phone to you raging and then me raging back, Yeshua would say, Michael, you must forgive as to Susan's raging. In other words, I'm not going to forgive Susan, but what Susan did was brought rage up in me. My forgiveness work is about my rage, the response in me. So you did a behavior that moved something in me, and Yeshua would say, forgive as to what that moved in you, not forgive Susan.
Okay.
So it's not about letting you off the hook, but recognizing that you're involved in it. You're in no way, shape, or form causing it in any capacity, but you presented the resonant frequency that I needed to look at that dark part of my mind. And Yeshua, when he says, forgive as to what Susan just resonated in you, would be saying, now go inside, stop your denial, stop pretending it's got anything to do with Susan or anybody else. Go in and do your work. So forgive as to what Susan resonated in you.
Great, thanks.
And I love today, it happened to be lesson 241. This holy instant is salvation come. What joy there is today. It is a time of special celebration, for today holds out the instant to the darkened world where its release is set. The day has come where sorrows pass away and pain is gone. The glory of salvation dawns today upon a world set free. This is the time of hope for countless millions. They will be united now as you forgive as to them all, for I will be forgiven as to by you today. We have forgiven as to one another now, and so we come at last to you again. Father, your Son who never left returns to heaven and is home. How glad are we to have our sanity restored to us and to remember that we are all one.
Yay.
Boy.
And just those 2 simple words, as in the Aramaic, brings it all into perspective. And as you added those, it just makes perfect sense.
Beautiful that we're talking about this today. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Helen.
No, it's amazing.
Didn't know this being on the airplane and hearing that.
Are you on
Very
an airplane
interesting.
right now, Susan?
Pardon me?
Are you on
Yeah,
an
I just
airplane?
arrived last night at Hawaii time. I got in at 11:15 last night and on the plane. And I swear for me, every time I come to Kauai, it feels like I'm going into another dimension. For me, it's very Lemurian energy. There's a deep radiance to that deep depth of love of the feminine. And so, yeah, that as I was just meditating, I meditated most of this 5-hour flight from Vancouver. I meditated most of the way. And that about the Course in Miracles, it's time to do a rewrite
God, and you're
to
young enough that
heal.
you
And
might
what they
have
said was
time.
to heal regulatory speech, is what I heard.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes of it. But the fact that we're speaking of it today and trusting its perfect timing around forgiveness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up today, you guys.
It ties right into moving from what the whole world has taught us from day one is projection communication.
Yeah.
And you hear Yeshua saying, you hear the scriptures talk about the power of life and death is in our words. And he says, my words are your perfect life. And so he's giving us frequencies with which to truly see, correctly perceive what's going on, to bring corrected perception so that even perception supports us in living truly as human beings. But the minute I go into, well, I have a structure in my mind, a construct called perception, and I'm going to talk to you like it's about you and it's all your fault. So then, of course, what would I do if I think it's all your fault? I'd forgive you. And yet you would tap me on the shoulder and say, Michael, shut up. Listen up here. Forgive as to this whole conversation that you're pretending is about somebody else. This is all happening in your mind, Michael. This is your work, though you've made it about somebody else.
One of the things I've learned in doing this wilderness work, as I call it, is that nothing is going to be lost. I think I headed out into my personal wilderness thinking I had to give up something and I'd be better off, but terribly impoverished by the loss of a lifelong habit. The habit, I've told you about it before, getting overly attached to people, getting crushes on people, certain kinds of people that replicate the unhealthy part of my relationship with my mother. Trying to get it right, and heading in thinking I'm going to get rid of this addiction once and for all. And I used Jeannie's app and didn't get anywhere except that there was a tremendous relief in doing the wake up sheets over and over again, the same issue. I've been over it so much, like there's no new material. And yet somehow there's a comforting there, as if the wake up sheet has a life of its own. And the final conclusion I've come to is that not only will nothing be lost, everything will be fulfilled in a way you can't imagine. Don't even aim for it. Don't think about it. Just trust that everything is going to be better than ever.
There's a passage in the Course. Yeah, it fits perfectly. There's a passage in the Course, I'm not finding it right now, but it talks about this idea of sacrifice is so central to the ego's thought plan, the ego's game. And that, yes, you give it up, but then Ruka turns around and gives it right back to you, but in its wholeness, in its full form, in its gift form.
Yeah.
And I'm not finding that passage, but
that's a good thought.
The goal of Ruka's teaching is just this end of dreams. Where sights and sounds must be translated from the witness fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. For learning, as the Ruka guides to the outcome is perceived, becomes a means to go beyond itself and be replaced by the eternal truth.
which in no way is a deprivation, of course.
Like
It's a fulfillment.
it's like we give away the half piece that's so trauma based, only to
Mm,
have the whole piece given, which is then recognize its gift.
mm-hmm, mm.
Ruka understands the means you made by which you would attain what is forever unattainable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you offer it to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it is truly at home.
And Michael, the only way I could find my way there is by using the tool, setting it up, naming the goal over and over and over again, and getting no results that were at all intellectual. It was just an
Yep.
expansion.
Out of your mind.
I know you've been saying that, and I've been yelling at you for saying that.
But that's what you just described.
Yeah,
Isn't that what you just said?
yeah,
It doesn't have, I mean, the problem is presented by the head in the head,
yeah.
but the solution is in the head or of the head. It results in a return to wholeness, a return to full connectedness,
Mm,
which is the unconscious yearning. And what the Course talks about is the Creator's yearning is for our return.
mm,
If you don't figure it out in your head how you're going to return, you collapse and get the head the hell out of the way, out of your mind, and the energy moves. If the breath moves. And so this particular passage says, accept your Father's gift. It is a call from love to love. Bid it but be itself. Let me change the language on that. It is a call from love to you, love, that you but be yourself. The breath is his gift by which the quietness of heaven is restored to you, the beloved offspring of the Creator. Would you refuse to take the function of the completion with the Creator? When all the Creator wills is that you be complete. It's lesson 280.
mm.
And in Aramaic, angels are thoughts from God.
Oh, wonderful.
So just letting those thoughts come in is such a gift to give oneself. Father, your name is love, and so is mine. Such is the truth. Just to breathe into that fully, let that reach down to the very depths of the genes in your toes. Such is the truth. Your name is love, and so is mine. And can the truth be changed by merely giving it another name? The name of fear is simply a mistake.
Mm,
Let me embrace the truth today. Let me breathe into it. Because nothing real can be threatened. And nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of the Creator's breath. Sweet. Sweet conversation.
Michael,
Yes.
I see that Terry is here, and I was on yesterday, and in a way, he was like my voice. I mean, his anguish, he was talking about it, and I was busy fighting my battles and listening to him and feeling for him, and I'd love to know how he's doing, if that's appropriate.
Oh, why don't you go ahead and ask him?
Terry, are you listening, and how are you doing? Well, he's out there standing in the field, according to the picture on my iPhone. Anyway, I did text him after the show. There he is.
Yeah. Thank you for that sweet text yesterday, Tim. That was very nice of you to do that. And I was trying to get to my microphone here, but well, how am I doing? So it's like riding the ocean, and I called Michael this morning, and we had a brief discussion. I was grasping at some concepts. It's like looking at the difference between fear and anxiety, stress, and how those line up or feel in my body. Because one of the key pieces with what I experienced, was this disconnect. It was a complete disconnect from my emotional feedback system, and I just was, able to step into a place where I shut down all feelings, emotions, and sensations, and all that, just like a zombie. And
Understandable, though.
pardon me.
Understandable.
Oh yeah, and it's I think I described it as like walking around in a bubble-headed spacesuit, where you're in this environment where everything's just isolated. But anyway, so we've been working with this fear and this, and the stress and the other things there that I just mentioned, and so it was so pronounced and clear and dramatic yesterday, and it's exactly where Michael commented about my hand was over the spot, and it perfectly is. That's exactly where it's all happening at. And,
your hand was over where, Terry?
What's that?
Where was your hand?
Where's my home?
Look at the picture, Susan.
Yeah.
Look at his picture here on the.
Yeah.
And notice where his hand is.
Yeah.
That's why when we were talking this morning, and he was saying where he was working in his physiology, it's like it's interesting the picture you've been using for some time. Your hand has been right on that spot.
Right on that spot, and that's where they cut me open from, from my chest bone down to my my crotch, and it's like this big scar there that I've had. Went through that trauma on top of everything else. So it's when that pain gets activated there, it's like I can only imagine that it's from the release of stored energy and being on the right path. As far as moving with it, allowing it, experiencing it, feeling it. But my ego doesn't like that. Terry doesn't like that. He's like, I don't want to feel all this pain. I want to feel good or nothing. It's like, let's keep it at that. But that's not realistic. Yeah. Yeah. So the nothing thing was for years where I just had it all contained and didn't feel anything. And so really it took about the first, I remember when my conscience came back online, so to speak, after about a year or so into recovery, when I had my first pains of guilt from something I did that was not in alignment with how I wanted to be. I was doing some old behaviors that were illegal, and I had this weird feeling, and I kind of got in trouble with the drug dealer because he thought I was, you know, well, he thought I was acting very, very strange, and he was reaching for his gun. I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. It's like, no. He didn't understand why I didn't want my cut off the job. See, I said, I don't want the money, you keep it all. And he thought I was narc setting him up. And then I had to explain to him, I says, man, I can't do this anymore because I got a conscience. It took me a while to figure it out. My conscience is coming back. And it just felt so bad to engage in that behavior that I couldn't stand it. You know? And that's all. That was the beginnings of that sensations and all in that same area. So it's really been and I saw it yesterday as a true barometer and a true friend that even up until now I haven't recognized the strength and the gift that is, and what what it's about. And so when it started revealing itself, I want to know more, quicker, sooner, better. That's kind of my nature, It's like, listen, if this is good, then it's got to get better. So let's see if we can get it better. But I know that was a long dialogue around your question or your statement. But thank you again for reaching out to me. That was really sweet. And
listen, it sounded as I was right there with you.
Yeah. And sometimes it just moves so cleanly and clearly, and it's like, wow, I want to keep this, but then the next thing comes up. However, the good news is that no matter how many times it comes up, through going into the breath, I'm able to transform it or to change that experience, and to process it or whatever's going on.
That's great.
And Terry, just to bring in from our conversation this morning and what you just shared about the scar tissue suppress trauma. And so perhaps another level to bring your breath is to consciously, purposely bring the breath into those places where that scar tissue is and begin to dissolve them. To embrace whatever trauma is stored there, physiological, mental, emotional.
Yeah, which is a lot. Because it's like a thick cable of scar tissue.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I should I worked with castor oil before. I haven't recently. Castor oil and then the black seed oil that you had me doing some work with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely add that back. And the things that break away cleanly, we've loosened it and bing, it's done. They break away cleanly because we've done the work to cut all the ties to that one. When Yeshua talked about, they said to him, how many worksheets should we do? Is 7 enough? Right? In Aramaic, 77 times 70, cutting all the strings. And the ones that don't break loose easily, it's because we still got, unconscious attachments, still got unconscious trauma-based goals that need to be cleaned out to let that one break through cleanly or freely. Let go of it. So joining you in the depth of breath and wholeness and holiness.
Well, I'm ready.
Well, and you're supported.
Thank you.
All right, my friend. Any other thoughts for you, Miss Susan?
No, thanks so much. Great show.
All right. Lots of love and blessings.
Yeah.
Yay.